The title of the show is AAA, Experiments in AI, Art and Architecture. And the idea behind it, as the title says, is that it is mainly a big experiment over the next, 4 or 5 months till January. It is AI, Art and Architecture because I was working at the ETH in the AI Center and built up an AI and art program. And Daniel had this idea of having a school of schools or an academy of academies. And we were talking about this for a while, and then first he wanted to invite a couple of different schools, and then finally we came up to the point where we said, let's just do the AI art and architecture experiment school, so to say. And with my job at the ETH, which is over now, I had access to a lot of different faculties. So I was visiting a lot of these faculties, trying to see who's interested in art and who uses AI in what field. And out of this, we could then extract different professors, faculties, labs, researchers to come here and do seminars and also to do public talks during these 4 months. So the experiments have, I wouldn't say chapters, but maybe 4 elements. One of them is a big stage. It's called Mehrwerk, which has been done by the Lab of Circular Engineering and Architecture, where they reuse material to build this stage or tribune. And the idea over there was at the very beginning that Daniel and I said we need a seminar space in the Kunsthalle for these seminars that will take place, which is the second element. And so we asked Katrin de Wolf, professor of the Circular Engineering and Architecture, to build a pavilion. And this is now, let's say, the first very strong element of the experiment. The second part is, as I mentioned, seminars. So there will be weekly seminars where we basically invited different professors from the ETH to do their seminar here at the Kunsthalle. So there's one on Tuesday afternoon, which is with Vanessa Schwarzkopf from the Circular Engineering and Architecture Lab. There's one on Wednesday morning with Philipp Ursprung from the Theory of Art and Architecture, Theory and History of Architecture. Then there's one with Tiziano Derme from Professor Dillenburger's lab, where it is about using mushrooms and mycelium networks for construction material in the inside. Then on Thursday there's one that I am giving in that's the Department of Information Technology and Electrotechnics, and it's computer scientists. I don't have a clue of computer science, but I'll work with them on the idea of creative thinking. And last but not least, Daniel, we appointed Daniel now, Baumann, to be a lecturer at the ETH in the architecture department, and he is doing a course or a seminar which is called the School of Subcurating. And this School of Subcurating will then create another element, also the seminars, which will be in small exhibitions happening during this time. So with the School of Subcurating, the students will present art projects that have been published already in magazines and use these magazines and books and online publications to create an exhibition, basically bring it from 2D into 3D again. Also Tiziano Derme will present together with the students models of constructions where you have mushroom growing around them. So it will be 4 terrariums, which have also been now shown at the Ars Electronica a couple of weeks ago. And also Vanessa with her students will be experimenting on how to construct playgrounds and use generative AI as a creative medium for architecture. And the fourth element, and that's maybe the most public one, is that we have every Thursday night, always at 7 o'clock, starting on the 10th of October, we'll have professors and artists engaging in conversations from a lot of different departments. So it's from It will be the first one is Eleni Khatsi from Structural Mechanics and Monitoring. We will have somebody, Inge Hermann from Nanoparticle System Engineering. We'll have Bob Sumner and Fabio Zünd from the Informatics and Game Technology Center, and so on. There's like a lot of evenings happening like that. Yeah. We'll also have artists like Janif Oran doing sound, or Liat Graver who works with robots, painting them, or Alexander Mordvintsev who's from Google Deep Dream, who developed one of the very first generative AI programs. So yeah, the experiment means that one has to come a lot of times, basically every Thursday, and dive into these different worlds of research and art.
So here we are reusing old materials from former ateliers from the ETH campus. And as you can see, there are former trusses from a roof, and now they are transformed into seating elements.
Yeah, the idea of these former pavilions that were built on the campus of Angerberg is that they could be used temporarily and then disassembled and reused. But it's not really what happened to them, and here what we're trying to show is that we can use these materials over several cycles and build different structures with them. So everything is thought in the detail so that we can reuse the materials several times. In particular, the trusses, we tried to, as much as possible, not drill or cut into them. So all the joints are kind of bracing them in a way that they're not harmed, and we can really reuse them as many times as possible.
And then at the same time it serves as a kind of platform for all the students to sit next fall semester. So we will have all our lectures here and all our courses, and also other courses from different professors, but we will teach here and also build something with the students together, which will be also then part of the exhibition. And yeah. So starting actually now, we will design with the students playgrounds, and every student group will do a playground element, and then all together it will be assembled as a playground, and they will use all certain types of digital advantages. So we will use AI, we will use computer vision and XR and many different types to kind of see the transformation of circular design or circular design strategies. And so this is what we will do with the students, and the final design will be this playgrounds. The idea is a bit that we kind of touch the surface of everything, so the students get to know everything they can work with later, so they kind of get introduced to all of these ones. So I mean, of course, we in our lab, we are using those tools in a more specific way, but with the students we kind of wanted to introduce them to these technologies to kind of have the first steps. So it sounds complicated, but the course will not be so complicated. So we will do it like a low threshold so everyone can participate. So we are both working for Catherine de Wolf in the lab for circular engineering for architecture. I'm doing a PhD on generative AI for circular design strategies. I just started, the specifics will come a bit later, but we are all working on a different type of technology, and so I'm working on generative AI and have a background in architecture, so it's more about how does generative AI kind of shape the design of circular design strategies. Is it even possible to use it for circular design? And
I think there's been like definitely a rising interest over the past decades or so in trying to implement circular design in the industry. Of course, there's many challenges with that on the sourcing of material, the storing, matching demand and availability. And I think it's actually the mission of the lab to try to find solutions for that, to really implement in the industry these circular methods. And the way the lab is doing this is through digital tools and trying to find how different digital strategies can actually help this transition and this implementation of circular design in the industry. And so that's also what the class is going to be trying to introduce the students to, different digital tools that can help towards the transition. And the pavilion is also a kind of demonstrator as a first step towards this direction.
Yeah, so this is basically an experiment to see how it goes, how we can reuse materials, what are the limitations, yeah, what kind of problems do we have to solve? So it's more like a smaller scale project, but of course we want to upscale it, so that would be great. So it's a first step. I mean, especially architecture and construction industry is the industry that is most harming the earth. So I think it's like one of the main sectors that we really have to shift towards a more sustainable thinking.
Yeah, there's definitely a crisis in the mind of architecture students who knows they are being trained to design buildings, but these buildings are using resources and like Vanessa said, harming the environment. And so I think in this moment, material reuse and circularity comes as a very interesting direction for students to actually find a meaningful way to engage and to use their design skills and training in a way that's more sustainable and that makes sense for the future of this industry.
Yeah.